Climate illness. Climate change is a significant threat to not only the atmosphere and environment but the health of the people. Rising greenhouse gases concentration results in increase in the frequency and intensity of extreme weather events and rising sea levels. This climate change impacts our health by affecting our food, water sources, the air we breathe, and the weather we experience. As the climate continues to change, the risk to human health continues to grow. Climate change can therefore affect human health in two main ways. First, by changing the frequency of health problems that are already affected by climate and weather factors. Second, by creating unanticipated health problems or health threats in places where they have not previously occurred.
What is climate illness? Firstly, we'll describe what an illness is. An illness is a disease or period of sickness affecting the body or the mind. Now, climate illness is brought about by climate change. This climate change can be seen as rise in surface temperatures, rise in sea levels, or hydrological extremes such as droughts or floods. Different forms of climate change bring about different climate illnesses. Some of these climate illnesses are directly influenced by climatic change, while others are indirectly influenced by climatic change. The national examples of climatic illness are discussed in the South African Medical Journal titled Human Health Impacts in a Changing South African Climate. Southern Africa will see a rise in temperatures of up to 2 degrees Celsius higher than the expected average global increase. The journal further states that more focused research on impact of climate change on illness is needed. According to an article titled Impacts of Climate Change on Health and Well-being in South Africa, published in 2018, shows that rising temperatures have accounted for 3.4% of deaths in South Africa. This data was collected from every district in the country over a period of 17 years. The article further stated that increase in occurrence and severity of storms and floods has been due to climatic change. Temperature increases have sizable effects for the transmission of vector-borne diseases. Malaria spikes, especially in Limpopo, have been linked to high temperatures and changes in precipitation. These high spikes usually occur 2 months after high temperatures and changes in precipitation have occurred in our neighboring countries. Projected changes in climate in South Africa will then favor the survival of the malaria vector. Importantly, climate change impacts the persistence and dispersal of water and foodborne pathogens in a multitude of ways. Droughts and high precipitation worsen the water quality. Bacterial pathogens then multiply faster in higher temperatures. A study that was done in 2016 on children of 5 years younger in Cape Town noted that a 5 degrees Celsius rise in the minimum weekly temperatures increased cases of diarrhea by 40% a week after. A journal published in 2008 says cholera outbreak in 2001 in KZN was also linked to increase in sea surface temperatures.
The influence of weather climate on human health is significant and varied. Exposure to human hazards related to climate change affects different people and different communities to different regions. An example of climate illness in the United States is temperature related illness. Increasing concentration of greenhouse gases lead to an increase of both average and extreme temperature. This is expected to lead to an increase in deaths and illnesses from heat. Days that are hotter than the average seasonal temperature in the summer or colder than the average seasonal temperature in winter cause increased levels of illness and death by compromising the body's ability to regulate its temperature. Loss of internal temperature control can result in illnesses including heat cramps, heat exhaustion, heat stroke, and hypothermal in extreme heat, and hypothermal in extreme cold, as well as frostbite. Temperature extremes can also worsen chronic diseases such as cardiovascular diseases, respiratory diseases, and diabetes related conditions. This figure shows the projected increase in deaths due to warming in the summer months and the decrease projected deaths due to warming in the winter months, and the net change in deaths in the United States.
In this presentation, I'd like to focus on 4 key aspects that are directly and indirectly associated to climate illnesses. The first aspect that I'll be looking at is heat stress. Heat stress is a condition where your body finds itself under stress due to overwhelming heat. Symptoms associated with heat stress are heat stroke, heat exhaustion, heat cramps, and heat rash. As temperatures increase in the Western Cape and Northern Cape as a result of extreme heat events which are caused by climate change, people are expected to experience heat stress on a regular basis. Moving along to the second aspect that I'd like to focus on, which is hunger and malnutrition. As climate change disturbs the growth and reproductive cycle of plants, some regions receive less or more sunlight and some regions receive more or less rainfall. This dramatic change in climate results in a less crop yield because plants do not have the time to adapt to the changing climate. This in turn results in the hike price in food. So certain households might not be able to afford necessary food items for a nutritious diet, leading to malnutrition. Diseases that are linked to malnutrition is kwashiorkor. This disease is caused by a poor intake of protein. This happens when a certain food item is cheaper and more abundant than others. This will result in people buying that food item more, resulting in kwashiorkor. The third aspect that I would like to focus on is air pollution. Air pollution is a mixture of air particles and gases and other solid particles, which are soil particles which are taken from soil erosion up into the air. Some of these pollutants are carbon dioxide, benzene, lead, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, ozone, O3. These pollutants are a public health hazard. These pollutants are influenced by climate change because climate change can influence the concentration of these pollutants in the air. When one comes into contact with these pollutants, they can experience eye irritation, respiratory diseases, because these pollutants are moved through wind speed and affected by cloud cover and changing temperatures. The last aspect that I'd like to look at is mental health. Climate change can disrupt social structures. When floods occur, they can destroy schools, homes, hospitals, and these places are places where people go to for daily services. When this happens, people can feel helpless, depression, anxiety attacks, and these are all causes of climate change.